computer. Okay, so thank you very much for joining in for this session. I think it will take about an hour, hopefully less. I have a PowerPoint presentation that I will walk you through, and then we'll open up for questions. Some of your questions may be answered as part of the presentation because I have a bunch of FAQ slides at the end. So, but yeah, feel free to ask questions towards the end of the presentation. So my name is Sandeep Agrawal. I'm a professor and director of the School of Urban and Regional Planning. And I'm very happy to be joined by some of our faculty members. So maybe I'll ask them to say a few words. So let me start off with Kyle because she was the one who came first. Kyle.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. And my name is Kyle Whitfield. And my focus is in the program is community planning and social planning issues. And I look forward to maybe seeing some of you in my classes.
Thanks, Kyle. Jeff.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff Burchell. My research focus is local scale climate change impacts and the responses that local government decision makers hopefully instill. Thank you.
Thanks. Neil.
Hello all, my name is Neil Lamontagne. I'm the lecturer in the program, and I come from a lot of practice experience, but very interested in the intersection of planning and urban development, on how our rules and regulations shape our urban environment. And I get to do a few different classes. I really love this program. That's all I'll say. Take care.
Thanks, Neil. Emily, you're next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Emily Grise. Right now, I'm teaching a GIS class for planners, and in the fall, I teach transportation planning, and my research is focused on transportation planning across a broad spectrum of transportation modes.
Great. Thanks, Emily. Bob?
Great. I'm Bob Summers, and my area of interest, I'm really interested in how we transition rules, regulations, and practices related to making cities more sustainable. Some key terms like walkability come into it, and I'm interested particularly in how commercial areas and commercial businesses complement residential areas. But as all of us do, I supervise grad students in a much broader range of things, and I've got some experience in some environmental issues, water management, and things like that as well. So, yep, welcome everyone.
Great, thanks, Bob. And just so you know, folks, there are other faculty members who are in the school, but these are the folks who could join us today. So with that, I'm going to share my screen and start off with the presentation. Can you see the screen? Yeah, just the slide, not the whole bunch of other stuff, just a slide. Awesome, thank you. All right, so let's just get started. So this is about Master of Science in Urban and Regional Planning, and this is for those who are interested in the fall admission. That's fall of 2021. So the presentation outline consists of talking about the program. So I'll just highlight a few parts of the program, how the curriculum looks like, what the admission requirements are, who our faculty members are. Some of them are already here, but I'll talk a little bit more, student funding, and then I'll get into some of the frequently asked questions. So just quickly about the program. As you know, global warming, climate change, greenhouse gas emission, these are all some of the pressing issues that our planet is facing. And also important to note is the rapid urbanization that's occurring across the world. And almost 40% of greenhouse gas emission occurs in the urban area. And then on top of that, the issues are about economic predictability, unpredictability rather, especially in this, in the times of pandemic. And then you have the globalization that has been happening in last few decades. So as you can see, there are a number of issues that have global as well as local trends. And the program addresses some of these issues in different courses. So the basic issues, the questions that are raised in the program are: how should planning be practiced in fast-changing cities and regions? What might be done to live well in a sustainable way on this planet? How can we design and plan so that we can create or modify our built environment so that they are socially and culturally acceptable, economically affordable, and environmentally sustainable? So there are a whole bunch of things that we do, but there are two dimensions which are quite unique. First is a focus on resiliency, resilient planning, looking at winter cities, northern towns, most of which are dependent on resources of different type. They are dependent on the what exists around them. So economy is quite dependent on these resources. So some of these issues we will tackle. The second dimension of the program is studio-based pedagogy, and I will explain what that is in the next couple of slides. So in essence, the curriculum consists of studio courses. There are some core courses, elective optional courses, part of the curriculum, and then there is a major research project or paper at the end. There is a component of the program which is meant for those who already have accredited degree in planning. So they come in the one-year stream, and those who are new to planning, but they come from various other disciplines, they are most likely be eligible for the two-year program, two-year stream of the program. So the regular stream is a two-year stream. It provides advanced level education for the new planners, and it requires completion of 12 courses. 10 are mandatory and 2 are optional. And then, as I mentioned, you have a research paper project at the end. So as you can see, it's a course-based program, not a thesis-based program. And that's the reason you take a whole bunch of courses. So all of that comes out to be around 42 credits. All right, someone's audio is on. If they could please turn their audio off. Thank you. So 42 credits in total, 36 are for the required core courses and 6 are for the optional courses. And then you have the research paper as a capstone project. So this is how the curriculum looks like, and I won't get into the details of it. But as you can see in the first semester, you take about 4 courses, 3 are mandatory and 1 is optional. In the second semester, you take another 4 courses, so that completes about 8 of them. And then the rest are in the second year of the program. The red circles are the ones which are important for our students. 5-10 physical planning and design is where students begin to understand sort of the nuts and bolts of planning, the vocabulary of planning. Research methods is where they learn about different methods that planners use. And 503 in the second semester is where students begin to craft their proposal for the research paper that they will work on in the second year. And then you see the 505, which is the master's research paper. It's a 6-credit course, spans across 2 semesters, fall and winter in the second year. And then there's a studio course, which comes in advanced studio course, which comes in the second semester of the second year. Along with that, you would see other courses, planning for northern regions, resource communities, that is taught by one of our faculty members, Christoph Van Asch. 500, planning for resilient cities and regions. It's Jeff who teaches that. Then you have courses in finance, planning law, planning theory, professional practice, ethics. And then in terms of optional courses, we offer a whole slew of them, from housing to parks planning, transportation that Emily mentioned, low carbon cities, heritage planning, GIS, and so on and so forth. The accelerated program, the stream rather, is for those who already have an undergraduate degree in planning, an accredited undergraduate degree in planning, and they wish to advance their knowledge and skills. And they essentially do fewer courses because we're assuming that they have already taken some of the courses that students coming from other disciplines take as part of the program. And so these folks take about 8 courses, 6 of them are mandatory, 2 are optional. And then they also are required to do a research paper as a capstone requirement of the program. So this stream is sort of modeled after like a 1-year executive MBA, designed as a post-professional options for students, again, those who already have an undergraduate degree in planning and have had some experience in planning practice. Again, I won't get into the curriculum, but essentially shows that they take about 8 courses and they do their final master's research paper. Studio components, so this is what I had mentioned before. Students participate in 2 studio courses. One comes in the first year, the first semester, which is on land use planning. And then the second studio course is in the second semester of the second year. And essentially a studio offers hands-on critical inquiry into complex planning problems. This is where knowledge and skills come together. And sometimes new scholarship develops in this studio environment as well. So to give you an example of what happens, especially in the second studio, currently we are working with a number of clients. So essentially we introduce new real life projects, and students have the opportunity to work with real life clients. So at the moment we have 3 clients, City of Edmonton, Town of Morinville, and the City of Fort Saskatchewan. And City of Edmonton came to us and wanted us to work on this piece of land, which is owned by a private developer called Cameron. And what our students are doing is they're essentially developing an urban design plan for the area. It's in the south side of the city, the suburban parts of the city. and they're looking at issues around parking, actually too much of parking. The build form is all dispersed all across, and how to bind that all together, how to bring the area back to a human scale. The town of Morinville, this project is about developing an urban design plan as well as a recreational plan for Heritage Lake. So they have a lake which actually is outside of their town limits, and they want to put it to use for better purposes. City of Fort Saskatchewan, which is a community northwest of Edmonton, and they have engaged our students to do a parking study for their downtown area. So there are a number of other projects that our students work on, but these are the three that we are currently engaged in as part of the studio course. So I'll dive into the admission requirements. For the regular stream, that's a 2-year stream. We look for candidates who have a 4-year bachelor's degree with a minimum of B average in the last 2 years of study from a recognized university. The undergraduate degree may be in any field other than planning. So this was a question that was asked before through our Google form. So I want to emphasize this part, that for the 2-year stream, the undergraduate degree usually is in a field other than planning. So our students come from all different disciplines, from architecture to design, geography, environmental studies, history, sociology, sometimes engineering. So as you can see, they come from multiple different disciplines into the 2-year program. For the accelerated stream, that is for the 1-year stream, the candidate must have completed an accredited bachelor's degree in planning. So this is where you're looking for candidates with a degree in planning and 2 years of, so 2 calendar years of professional experience as well. So in this case, the admission is offered on a case-by-case basis. We look for professional experience. More experience you have in planning, the better chances you have to get into the 1-year stream, that's accelerated stream. Quickly about the School of Urban and Regional Planning. So undergraduate program was established in 2012, about 8-9 years ago. We are part of the Department of Earth and Atmospheric Sciences. And since then, as you can see, we have grown. After undergraduate program, we were able to put together a PhD program that was in 2015. This program, MSc in Urban and Regional Planning, came to fruition in 2017. And then a year later, we were able to put all this together under one administrative unit and created the School of Urban and Regional Planning. So from this school, we offered these 3 degree programs, and there are multiple streams within those programs. Just quickly about a student body, majority of our students are in the bachelor's programs, about 75 to 80, 8 students in the PhD program, and 34 students in MSc planning programs. And this is between the first year and second year altogether. We offer tons of resources. There's studio space available to work on the studio projects that I mentioned before. The research assistant, graduate assistant office spaces, they're offered through the faculty members and individual supervisors. There's a grad student touchdown space where students from this program can gather on their own, and there are various facilities that are available within that space. Diff Lab is essentially a lab which has a whole bunch of equipment that is shared across the department, GIS software, large scale printing, and other devices that scanning of different sorts that is available in the lab. The school faculty, 7 full-time core faculty members, and there are several other faculty members who contribute to the program from the Faculty of Law, Human Geography. It's another program within the Department of Earth and Atmospheric Sciences, Sociology, and a number of other disciplines. We hire up to 14 professional associates. Most of these folks are practicing planners who come and teach various courses. Some of those courses are core courses, some of them are optional courses. But our idea is that planning is a professional discipline, and we want to make sure that it remains what we impart to our students is relevant to them when they get out of the school, so that they can hit the ground running. And these professional associates add a lot and complement our teaching resources and bring some very practical examples and learnings from the profession. This question comes up quite often, and that is about financial assistance to students. There are some internal scholarships and awards. So we call them program awards and scholarships. And essentially, there is a pool of funds that we have within our budget. Usually the amount varies from as little as $1,000 to up to $5,000, but just based on students' merit, GPA. There is no extra process to apply for these awards and scholarships. In the second year, there are scholarships available through the Faculty of Graduate Studies and Research. It's called Graduate Student Scholarships. And you will find out more about them when you get into the second year. There are external scholarships available for which you have to apply. These are national competitions. Canada Graduate Scholarship at the master's level is worth about $17,500 for a year, but there are some hard deadline dates. So you have to apply much before you come to the program. So you keep that in mind. In addition to this, there are a number of research assistantships available, but for that, you would have to, once you are admitted, you may like to contact individual faculty members within the school. All right, so this is towards the end of the presentation. There are 2 or 3 slides here on FAQs. So what we have been doing is, sort of just keeping tab of the questions that students have asked in the past. So is this program available part-time? No, it is only available on a full-time basis. Reduced course load option may be available under exceptional circumstances, but keep in mind as a full-time program, we do not offer part-time programming. So if you're asking for whether the classes are being offered over the weekend or after 6 p.m. in the evening and so on, that facility is not available. So all of these courses are scheduled during the working hours, except for one. I would say it's the planning law, because it's taught by a practicing lawyer. So she comes in the evening from 6 to 9 p.m. How do I apply? You go to the Faculty of Graduate Studies research website, and it basically guides you. You have to click on apply now. You have to select the Department of Earth and Atmospheric Sciences as the department, because that's where we are housed. Then you select for which term you're looking for, and that is fall 2021. And then you go from there. It'll take you into the application portal, and then you create an account and do the rest of the things that it will ask you to do. what if I don't have, this is the third question, what if I don't have a diploma, degree certificate, or final transcript at the end, at the time of application, or by September, let's say 2021. So in that case, a conditional admission can be made. And then, the condition of the admission will be to submit the final transcript by December. Do you accept applications after the application deadline? So application deadline is March 15th for the coming fall. The answer to this question is the first consideration will be given for admission as well as for scholarships and awards to those who apply on or before the deadline. Come March 15th, it will not let you apply unless you have put in your application, but your application is incomplete. So you have to put in something into the portal for you to continue, but you cannot start a new application once the deadline is over. When do I hear about my acceptance? We give out, we offer admissions on a rolling basis. We'll start off on this fairly soon, but most of the admissions go out in February and March. This question comes up quite often. Is the program accredited by CIP, which is the national planning body, the Canadian Institute of Planners? APPI is the provincial affiliate. And the answer is yes, we are accredited by CIP and APPI. How do you calculate my GPA? It's the last 60 graded credits, but they must all be from the university. So they need to be credit courses. These 60 graded credits do not include courses that you may have taken through an extension program or a continuing education program, and if they happen to be non-credit, then you won't be able to have them counted towards your GPA. I have taken more courses beyond the undergraduate degree. Do these extra courses get included in the GPA calculation? Yes, only if they are from from a university and that they are credit courses. Okay, so pretty much same as the answer to my previous question. All right, this is, I believe, is my last slide. Can I take courses in an international university and get the credits transferred? The answer is yes, as long as the university, yes, as long as the university is on the UFA list of accredited universities. So you'll have to go on FGSR website and see which universities are accredited. How many reference letters do I require? 2. One of them can be from a professional. Tuition fees. So this is, as opposed to some of the other programs at the UFA and perhaps at other universities, the tuition here is charged based on the courses that you take. So it is $1,300 per 3 credit course, plus other fees for domestic students. For international, it's a little bit higher. It's $1,560 for a 3 credit course plus other fees. So you can do the calculation. So if you're taking about 8 courses in the first year, it may be around $10,000 for domestic students and slightly higher for international students. I want to say one thing about the awards and scholarships that we give out from the program. They go towards tuition remission. So they don't come to you as cash award, but essentially it will deduct the tuition that you will pay in the fall or in the winter semester. Would I be assigned with a supervisor before I come? No, you will find your supervisor when you're ready to work on your final research paper. So keep in mind that when you're going through, when you're doing your application, don't get confused. If it is asking for, if the application portal is asking for a supervisor's name, that means you are at a wrong place, okay? Because our human geography master's program and some of the other programs ask for a supervisor's name. But for MSc in urban planning, doesn't require you to have a supervisor at the time of application. All right, down to the very last question. If I don't know how to use the software programs, will I get training on them? So we don't require you to, come with all the skills and be adept in a specific software package, but it's always good to have working knowledge of Microsoft Office, SketchUp, Adobe packages, InDesign and others. But in the past, we have offered sort of a boot camp for students to sort of get a quick glance through these software packages and get to be, get to know them a little bit, be familiarized with them a little bit, but you'll have to develop your own skills throughout the program as you go along. All right, so the very last slide, the contact information. If you wish to know a little bit more, you can click on the link here, and it takes you to the school's website. The phone number is on the website as well, email as well. And there is a very, very nice video, I would say, and it sort of gives you a good idea of what the program is about. So with that, I will stop and I will stop sharing, but I want to give an opportunity for our faculty members to add to whatever I have said so far or things that I might have missed.
Sandeep, I'll just jump in. So there's been some questions in the chat that we've been answering actually, so that's helpful. But there's one here. Brian asks if any or all classes will be offered online. And in the past, I would have said no, but with this, brave new world we're in, I'm not sure if there's any plans for that. So I wanted to ask you.
Yeah. So. So is the question for the coming fall?
Yeah, for the coming fall, and I think it's assuming that, let's say COVID, clearly if we're in a COVID situation still, then yes, classes will be online like they are now. But if not, if we're generally back in the classroom, would there be any classes online possibly?
Yeah, so pre-COVID times, none of the classes was offered online. But since the pandemic has begun, almost all the classes are online with few exceptions here and there for little components of especially studio courses. But for the coming fall, it is possible that we will remain online unless our federal government vaccinates every Canadian, which is highly unlikely to happen. So university is assuming that the fall classes will be online. All right, any other questions? You can put them in the chat or just turn your audio on and just say what your question is. Whoa. It is a quiet group. What are the career opportunities? Sorry, go ahead, Bob.
there was one just above that. GPA aside, what else do you consider when looking through student applications?
Yeah, so when you fill out the application form, and when you get into the application portal, one of the things that it will ask you to do is to fill out a statement of interest. And essentially it has 3 or 4 questions. First question is going to ask you, do you want to, are you interested in 2-year program, 2-year stream rather, or a 1-year stream? Okay. The second question is, please list any previous courses that you have taken that are in or related to planning. So what I'm trying to say is, along with the GPA, we're going to look at that statement of interest that you have filled out. So we're going to see if you have taken any courses previously that relate to planning. The second question that we ask in that is, please briefly summarize any volunteer or professional experience that you have, which may help you succeed in planning. So again, we're looking for any experience that you have, professional or volunteer. And then the fourth question is where you sort of tell us what your prior experience has been, what are your career objectives, and your research interest and things that you may like to pursue as part of your master's research paper. So along with the GPA, we're going to look at what you have filled out in that form. I have been getting questions in regards to experience. The questions where, what if I don't have a volunteer experience or a professional experience? It is fine. It's absolutely fine. And there you can say that you don't have those experience, but the form does allow you to reflect on any courses you have taken that may have inspired you to become a planner or choose planning as your career, or that you have traveled to places, you saw something that again, kicked your imagination. So all of that is entirely up to you, what you want to fill in there.
There's some more questions in the chat.
What are the career opportunities for a graduate? What are they likely? So our students go into both public and private sectors. Most of them find jobs in public sector because that's where most of the hirings happen. So we have students in the city of Edmonton here, students in Parkland County. We have students who got job in Dialogue, which is a private consulting firm. Students have moved to Vancouver. Yeah, Bob, go ahead and add, because you did.
I was just going to add that there's quite a few at Stantec now as well.
Okay.
Quite a few places, other municipalities, and mostly municipalities and private firms.
Yeah, thanks, Bob.
And overall, generally pretty successful. I don't know what this last year has been because COVID has been a little weird. Obviously, it's created challenges, I think, but certainly in past years, the vast majority of them were in a planning position within a year. Like quite a few came right out into a planning position. I don't have the data, but it was only a few months into the previous year. I think 80 or 90% of our students were in planning positions or going to onto other school opportunities. A couple went on to other degree, like PhDs and things like that. So,
Thanks, Bob. Jeff, do you recall any of your students where they landed?
All over the place in terms of geography, but they all had planning related degrees in some way, shape, or form. some ended up in the public
Northern.
sector out east in Newfoundland, some in the north in the public sector, some locally in both private and public sector. This is from the first cohort I'm speaking about. And the second cohort, likewise, I'm just trying to think where they're all located right now. A couple of them had jobs when they came into the program, and they went back to those jobs afterwards. But just to echo what Bob was saying, the students in the program have been quite good at getting jobs right out of the degree.
Yeah, thanks. Emily, you want to add anything?
No, I would probably echo what Jeff and Bob just said. And I think, a bit of personal preference and also timing, who's hiring right now. And it's hard to say exactly what the prospects are like, but coming out of COVID, hopefully they're looking good.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think as you probably kind of got the hint that COVID did have an impact, and this is not just on our discipline, but almost on every discipline and irrespective of geography. But all in all, our students have done quite well. I see a question, how is this accredited bachelor's degrees defined for being accepted for the one-year program? All right, so very good question. So this is about one-year stream, and the question is about accredited bachelor's degree. So accredited bachelor degree in planning are those degrees accredited by CIP, so the Canadian Institute of Planners. So it is possible that they have extended accreditation to some of the non-Canadian degree programs. Most of them, I think, will be Americans, but I can't think of any other accredited degree programs outside of North America. So if you have a bachelor's degree from some other country, then you may not be eligible for the one-year program. What are the chances of funding? How many students are selected in fall MSc class? So let me answer the second question. First question is about funding. Second question is how many students. In the past, we have made offers somewhere between, we have made offers up to 25 students. We have landed with students somewhere between 15 and 20. So that usually is what the class size has been. The 20 is, I would say, is the max, but numbers have been around 15 or 17 or something like that. What are the chances of funding? Funding from our pool, essentially what we do is we just go by the GPA, and if your GPA is 3.5 or more, then you're most likely to get funding from the program pool, which, as I mentioned before, is limited, but we try to fund as many students as we can from that pool. Sometimes we have gone slightly below this 3.5 GPA. We have had funding, and Bob, remind me, do we still have the Brookfield funds available?
I think there's some of the Brookfield funds available, but they're treated very much like the internal scholarships in that regard. But
okay,
yeah.
So with Brookfields and our own planning program pool, in the past we were able to fund almost the entire class at different varying levels of amount. But I'll be very open to you that the amount of funding that we offer will not cover all of your tuition. But as I said in my presentation, many of our students have gone on to become an RA on a project with a faculty member, especially in the second semester of the first year and in the second year. Many of them have gotten TA-ships, and TA-ships, because we have a large undergraduate program and we offer a whole bunch of undergraduate courses, there's a need for a tons of TAs, especially students who have some planning experience, have taken some planning courses. So some of our MSc students get TA-ships as well. And TA-ships pays a lot, I must say that. All right, the question, you mentioned RA-ship in your presentation. I was wondering TA-ship, so I mentioned this. So TA-ships, it just varies from semester to semester. The maximum we have gone is probably 4 in a semester. So 4 TA-ships in a semester. Yeah. How does the summer internship opportunity look like, and what steps are involved to apply for that? Summer internship, so we have an office called GSIP, Graduate Students Internship Placement Office. And in the past, they have been quite active in helping our students look for such opportunities. And many of our students have gotten help from GSIP office. In the past, they were able to subsidize the wages for the employers, so that was quite helpful. And then we have the, Bob, I'm forgetting the one that comes out, sustainable.
Sustainability Scholars.
Do you want to just say a few words about
Yeah, it's a program. It doesn't offer full-time employment, but a lot of our placements are with the city, and they're 250 hours, and students are paid about $6,000 over the summer for those positions, doing a project with the city or with another employer. So every year there's about, this is across the university, but it ends up that because it's with a lot of our partners, our municipal partners and so on, that quite a few from our planning program, 3 or 4 or 5 sometimes, get positions in those programs. So.
Yeah, so so the Sustainability Scholars Program, GSIP. Now, I would say something which is not a very well-known fact. There are tons of funding pools available at the federal level, and they are, so the funds are being channeled to the university through multiple different schemes. And our GSIP office, as well as our career center, they are putting together sort of a cheat sheet of, you know, what these funding schemes are. So as you can see, the things are still in flux, but I would say that there are tons and tons of funds and funding schemes that are being rolled out by the federal government. So hopefully next year, students going into summer internship, there may be a heck of a lot more opportunities than we had this past summer. What is the acceptance rate for international students for this program? Oh boy, it's a tough one. I don't know. I can't say. I can give you some raw numbers. In the past, we have received in total applications somewhere between 100 to 150. We make offers to about 25 to 30 students. And, you know, somewhere around 18, 20 who actually show up. So that's what the raw numbers are.
I'll just add to that, Sandeep. You know, some of those are immediately not eligible as well, and so I would encourage people to apply because you you really don't know unless you apply if you're eligible. And you know, certainly you want to have a GPA 3.0 or above, and that'll give you a much better chance of getting in. And if your GPA is in the higher range, then there's a much better chance of being accepted.
Yeah, good point. Is there an opportunity to take these studies abroad? I don't quite get the question. Is there an opportunity to take these studies abroad, meaning online? Okay, so Anna, you may have to explain that a little bit more. What was the last year's acceptance rate? Talked about that. Are there any clients given for doing a summer internship? Are there any credits? Sorry. Yes. So there is a course attached to summer internship, and it's a 3-credit course. So if you've done the summer internship, you can check off your one optional course. And remember, I was talking about 10 courses plus 2 optional plus the master's research paper. You can do more than 12 courses if you wish. It's just that you may have to pay on a per course basis as you take more courses beyond 12. What is the historical acceptance rate? We talked about that. COVID pending, are there opportunities to do field work abroad and internship abroad? I think Brazil was an option in 2019. Okay. Yes, so there is a course on field school. In 2019, we partnered with University of Alberta International E3 program, and there were students who went to Curitiba, Brazil. Yes. So, but since then we are under lockdown. So last year's field school was canceled. Most likely this year's will be canceled as well. So I can't tell you what holds for 2022. And it is usually for 2 weeks. Yes.
You missed one there, Sandeep. Anna replied, and she was wondering about whether the degree program would allow you to have a career in another country. And I'll just offer up a quick thought and then let you take it over. But yes, we have reciprocal agreements with our professional organization. Depending upon where you end up working, whether the program would count towards your professional accreditation elsewhere. So if you were to go to the UK or Australia, there's different regulations in each of those places, but we do have our professional association has some reciprocal agreements that would allow you to get, you need to check with them to make sure, but that could allow you to get your professional designation there. Certainly if you have, many planners do move from Canada to other countries to work and get jobs in planning. Planning is a pretty transferable skill set, and certainly once you've got your professional accreditation, which takes a couple of years out of your degree, after your degree, then that's recognized in many parts of the world. So,
yeah, good answer. So we do have, we meaning CIP, the Canadian Institute of Planners. They have a reciprocal agreement with APA, which is the American Planning Association, and through NAFTA, and NAFTA, even the renewed NAFTA or UCMCA, whatever it's called, does include planners as a profession and planners who could move from Canada to the US under NAFTA agreement and get a TN visa and work as a planner in the US. And the degree most likely is transferable, or even if it is not right away transferable, it's a much easier process. And likewise from Americans coming to Canada. I've heard the University of Alberta is currently restructuring. How is this affecting planning school? A very good question. It will not affect us in the short term, most likely in the long term either. I think most of the changes have occurred at a much higher level. The faculties are, so we are in the Faculty of Science. Now what they have done is they have created college, whatever the new name is, Applied Science or something, which now has these three faculty of Science, AILS, and Faculty of Engineering, but they all maintain their autonomy in terms of budgets and courses and such. Anyone else wants to offer any?
I'll add a little bit
Yeah.
to that. I'll just mention that I think that planning in the School of Urban and Regional Planning is really well placed as a professional program. We are very successful in attracting students. Our students are have a lot of success in getting positions, professional positions, and we're really in a strong position in terms of I don't see any risks to the program disappearing or something like that, and pretty confident about the future.
Thanks. Do you offer accommodations, reduced load for students with disabilities? I think university does. This is a question that we should ask. There is a center, Students Access Center, Bob, is that what it's called? There's a new name to it.
Yeah, they've renamed it. Shoot, I'll remember it.
Yeah, but yes, I think accommodations are given, but students, I think, needs to be assessed by the center, and then they make a recommendation based on the type of accommodation that's needed. All right, since there's a word limit in question 4 of the statement of interest, are there any limits set for question 2 and 3? Very good question. I don't recall, but I think there's a space, and it may just, it's a PDF fillable form. It's possible that it may not let you go beyond 500 words for each of those questions as well. There's a question. I'm planning to apply to one-year MSc program, receive my bachelor from South Asia. Am I not eligible for the program as my degree is not Canadian? My suggestion, those who are interested in one-year program, to be open, especially international students interested in one-year program. I would urge them to be open to the 2-year stream as well. It is, I cannot guarantee unless I see what your application is, how it looks like, but you should be open to entering the 2-year program.
If someone has a fair bit of experience, maybe they should reach out to you, Sandy, directly by email to just ask about their own situation for advice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's a good way, but I would again suggest you to fill out the application, turn your formal application in so that we can all sit together and make a judgment based on looking at the application in its entirety. All right, in the SOI, the more you write, the smaller the text gets. I had to tweak my text a lot to keep it legible. Bob, I'm dumping this on you. You were instrumental in creating that form.
I think that we see everything, even if it gets small for you. I think we can see it all. So feel free to put your full 500 words in there, and we can see it. So I've never had one come in that we couldn't read once we clicked on it. So
Okay.
I don't know exactly how the system works. That was the technology folks set that up. So
All right. I think we covered. So I was specifically referring to the other questions. Yes, for 2 and 3. We can. So Brian, we could take a look at it. If you could just write to me separately, and we can revisit our form and see where the glitches are. Yeah, and Bob's advice is just, even if the font gets smaller, just put in whatever you wish to put in there. Okay, it's 6:06 here. You're just a tad bit over an hour. But if there are any other questions, 4 of us are here. Regarding international students interested in the first one-year program, should they choose the one-year program in the SOI, will they lose their chance in getting accepted for the 2-year program? Okay, very good question. If your preference is 1 year, then click on 1 year. And in the past, our practice has been that we would assess the application based on what you've asked for. So we will look at you as a 1-year stream applicant. And if we think that you may not fit that, then we will most likely come back to you and offer you the 2-year stream. So you will still have that option to take the 2-year stream. And then it's entirely up to you whether you take up on our offer. How many domestics, how many international? I really offhand, I don't have the answer. Bob, do you recall?
I'd say it really depends on the applicant pool and who accepts. We tend to accept from both, and we tend to have more from, we have fewer international students, a smaller proportion arrive. So we do tend to have, usually the mix is probably something 2/3 domestic, 1/3 international, and it could vary quite a bit from year to year. In the first year, we had quite a few international students. The next year, it seemed like there were very few. This year, there seems to be a pretty good mix. So we accept quite a few from each, but we have more of the Canadians who tend to actually show up.
All right, I got my degrees from another country, but I'm a Canadian citizen now. Am I considered a domestic or international student? You will be a domestic student from the tuition perspective. But obviously we'll have to assess your degree credentials and experience and such for the admissions. Okay, any other questions? All right, I don't see any other questions. So thank you very much for tuning in. Excellent questions, and I hope you all will apply. I hope to see most of you at the University of Alberta. My email was on the last slide of the presentation, but it's on our website as well. Please do write to me, or you could write to any of the faculty members. Their emails, blurbs, they're all available on our website. Yeah, so yes, and thank you very much again, and thank you for our faculty members for tuning in. It is it is our dinner time, so I really appreciate them coming over and being part of this session. Thank you very much. I will make this recording available. I'll have to check how it will be made available. So I'll have to go back to our staff to see where we will locate it, how we'll provide the links and things of that in nature. So just stay tuned. You will see the information on our website. Thanks again.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.